Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me again. It's TeaRon. That's TeaRon, period. And this is another episode of Ubiquitous Blacks Reviews. And I have with me Tiera. Tiera, what's up, baby?
Hey, T. Hey, everybody on YouTube land and podcast land and Ubiquitous Blacks land. I'm happy to be back, so thank you for having me.
And if you can't tell, we are actually here in person together. But this is not permanent. Don't.
It's not permanent. Don't get it twisted.
We took advantage of an opportunity to come together and be able to do this because, Tiera, I don't know about you. It's been a while since we...
It has. It's been about a year.
It's been a while. Listen, so someone asked me on the phone. Let me say this before I get into that. If you are watching us on YouTube and you happen to know one of us, don't call me and talk to me about the thing on YouTube. Leave a comment on the YouTube.
Amen. That's a word on today.
I literally like, I know like 5 different people that was like, oh, when I was watching this is what I said. Why didn't you just comment that on the fucking? But
yes, we would love a comment. Yes.
In the midst of one of those conversations, someone asked me, that was like, how do you all know each other?
Yes.
So I wanted to take the chance to, I think we may have talked about it a few years back on the other podcast episode, but
yes,
Tiera, do you remember when we met?
Absolutely. How can I forget it? How can I forget it? The birth of a friendship. Yes.
Why was it so memorable for you? I mean, I know I'm me, but
I was gonna say because it was you. There was a lot of laughter. I just remember that, which is what pretty much kind of birthed this, so from the laughter to the years later, I don't even want to say how many years later, but yeah, of course I remember. How could I forget?
Yo, so it's so funny because I had a meeting one time. I won't get into the details, but I had a meeting one time at Viacom.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to.
Oh, you just wanted to drop that, but go ahead.
Well,
mm-hmm.
I wanted to find someone who was like doing the MTV stuff and say, you missed your money, right? Because we met at at an audition for Real World.
We did.
And
we did.
They did not pick either of us.
Thank you, Jesus. When I tell you that was a gift and a blessing in disguise,
I think I would have been able to flip it, but also we would have had a spinoff or something. I'm sure. They missed their money.
They did miss their money, yeah.
But oh my gosh, what a time! But pretty much that's how we met. We were in line at an audition, and we weren't even in LA. So
yeah, and we weren't. I don't even think we were right next to each other. I think there might have been a person in between us.
Yeah,
and somehow the energies connected, the eyes locked. And then this is what started to happen.
I feel like we just were being black.
Very that.
Because I don't feel like we were next.
We weren't.
We weren't like,
No.
Oh, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I do remember that at some point they wanted us to, like we went through the line and then at some point you sat down to be called back
groups.
up. Yeah,
yes.
So when we sat down, I was like, oh, either you said I'm gonna sit by you, or I said, oh, I'm gonna sit by y'all.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yes.
And that's how it happened.
And that's how it happened. And TeaRon said, well, what's your Twitter? Because, Southern. What's your Twitter?
I said that?
You did.
Wow.
And I said, oh, well, here's my Twitter. And then I saw your Twitter because your Twitter was popping.
At the time.
This was a while back, y'all. But the Twitter was popping.
I used to do, when Twitter was new,
yes.
Even before like they were doing Periscope and stuff, I used to use, what was the website called? Oh, it was a video chatting site. Oh gosh. It's
Skype?
Like,
no.
Okay. Oh my goodness. It doesn't. It's gonna come to me, and I'm gonna be so upset if I figure it out. I'll drop an insert in, and I'll say this is what it was. Yeah. But it's a site that like nobody even uses anymore. But it was like video chat rooms and stuff, and I used to do like live prank calls. And I'd have like 2,000 people in the room and stuff. And I would, everybody that was following me on Twitter would navigate over to there. and we be having a good time. And so that's why my Twitter was like popping, because we were doing those things. But
and you were the person that you were in person was who you were on Twitter.
Yeah,
100%, 100%. And so from then on,
I'm gonna take that as a compliment.
No, I meant that. I meant that from a place of love. But then from then on, you've always been that person. You've always been hilarious. You've always given good content, be it online or in person or over WhatsApp. That's just who you are. So I'm excited to be doing this with you. I'm excited that you invited me, and I'm excited to share these reviews with y'all.
Oh my goodness. Well, speaking of reviews, we're not going to waste too much more time. We're going to get right into the first review. Here's the thing. Right now, there's a lot of content out there, right? You got all your streaming apps, options on options on options. I'm not going to pay for another app. If you have a password, again, I think you said it previously if there's something that you want us to watch and we don't happen to have access to the app, like I don't have Apple TV, right? Mm-hmm. Give us the password and we'll watch it. We'll review it.
Yeah, like we're all family here. I feel like we share. It's like, family sharing.
Yeah, I like to say, help me.
Oh, I was gonna say help me, help us, but okay.
Yeah. But that being said, there's a lot of content options out there, and recently there was a new feature that came out, and I was like, yeah, I want to watch this because of the trailer. And because Alfre Woodard, I love anything Alfre Woodard, I'm going to watch it. Mm-hmm. But I did not know that the feature was going to be not even 30 minutes. It was like 20-something minutes or something. Yeah. But a lot was it proved that you don't need a lot of time to tell a story, right? Yeah. It didn't come off like a student film. You know how some short films can be like, okay, this is a little campy, or it didn't come off like that. But it told a whole story in that amount of time. And I was like, oh, good. That means I can still go watch whatever else I want to watch.
Yes, agreed.
So the movie that we're talking about, or the short film rather that we're talking about, is called Weathering.
And the bleeding should ease up within 2 weeks. If it doesn't, just give us a call, okay? And make sure that you take these meds only as instructed. Got it?
All right, everybody. So that is Weathering. Now, the trailer doesn't give you much to go off of, okay? All in all, I did enjoy it. The feature did hold me, but there's some terms I might get wrong here, because I was like, okay, this is a woman going through postpartum, but I don't think that's the right thing. I think she had preeclampsia. So I don't have the words, or I don't have the understanding of it. I'm gonna say it. I know how to get in there and get out.
That's real.
But that's
real. You staying out of women's business. We appreciate that.
Yeah. So tell me, Tiera, what the overall setup is. What they give us for the synopsis? What did they say?
Well, for the synopsis, it is after losing her baby and nearly losing her life during labor, a journalist unravels amid disturbing visions and chilling attacks as she grieves alone at home.
Yeah. So I didn't even read it before, but now that you read it, I'm like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So pretty much it was a traumatic event. It starts out. We get right into it. Again, it's a short film. We ain't got no time to waste. We get right into it. She's in the hospital. A lot's going on. And she is trying to verbalize, hey, look, I don't feel right. Something's wrong.
There's something wrong. There's nothing wrong. You're fine. It's all in your head.
Which is another narrative. That's another thing where there's a disproportionate amount of Black women who do not get the service that they need. There's always like articles and stuff that I see come up about like when Black people or Black women are in the hospital and they are in pain, that it's dismissed.
Very true.
A lot of times, yes. Right? So there's this whole thing that goes through it where she's like, hey, I don't feel right. And they're like, oh, girl, calm down. Mm-hmm. That's how it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. That messed with me more than anything in this whole thing, because that's a real issue.
Yeah.
What do you?
You're right. You're absolutely correct. That is a big issue for Black women as it relates to our health. Standing up for ourselves, saying, "Hey, I have this issue. This is going on," and medical professionals not believing us. I think what was interesting also about this film was that she also was telling her partner, "Hey, I feel this type of way. Hey, I feel like there's an issue here." I think she may have said to her partner, she mentioned to her mother that she mentioned to the partner that she wanted to have the baby at home. She didn't want to have the baby in the hospital, but he was really pushing toward her having that baby in the hospital. So I thought that was a really important theme. I felt like that was probably the main theme of the movie, is that just to push toward, Black women's health, and it's important, and you need to be listening to people when they're talking about their own bodies. They know what they're talking about.
That's true. The leading actress in this was Alexis Louder. I hadn't seen her in much before this. Apparently, she was in Watchmen, but I'm not familiar with that particular role. However, if this performance is a reference point, I want to see her in some more stuff, because it takes a lot for most of the film. She's in scenes by herself. Yeah. Right. And you don't ever. You know how sometimes you watch somebody and the scene is going on too long, and you'd be like, okay, something needs to happen. I never felt that way in this. Right. They were moving it along, but also her performance made sense. Everything was really spot on. And I would have to say, if I am in a feature, any fucking feature with Alfre Woodard, I'm gonna bring my A game. So Alfre Woodard is also in this, and I think Alfre Woodard showed up, and she showed up for one day.
A few hours.
Yeah, she was there. Alfre Woodard came in the clothes that she had on. Yes. She pulled up, and whatever, she brought her own stuff.
It's true.
That's not no shade. No. But that because it's a short film. Alfre Woodard had like 1-2 scenes, right? And she came in. And she did her thing. She delivered. And she was out.
She was out. Yep.
But they knew to put her in the trailer, because that was the anchoring point.
Listen, like I told you before we started recording, I honestly forgot the name of the movie when I went to back and rewatch it, and I just typed in Alfre Woodard, and baby, it came right on up.
We found it. Yeah. So of course Alfre Woodard is amazing. She could have been on our thing.
I was thinking that as I was typing her name into the Netflix. I was like, dang, she could have been on our list. Yeah, she could have been on our list.
Yeah. So when we do a scramble, a rating scramble is what I'm going to call it. I'm coining a trademark. We'll throw Alfre Woodard in the mix.
I like it.
But there's that, and then also there's a young man that was in the film. Oh, I forget his name.
Jermaine Fowler.
Jermaine Fowler and Alexis Louder. Jermaine Fowler also came into it. If you don't know Jermaine, he was his biggest role to date was Coming to America, which I know is your favorite movie. And
all time.
Let me say this. He was only in a few scenes as well. However, I enjoyed his performance here because there wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on like Coming to America. So
I won't say I enjoyed his performance. The character pissed me off.
You didn't mind it, right?
But I would prefer this over the Coming to America.
Yeah. Well, it pissed you off because he was a jerk. Yeah, exactly. So he did his job.
He did his job, exactly.
But then also the way it's shot, it's very eerie in a lot of ways. It could be, horror genre, if you will.
Hello? Yo. Is someone in here?
I don't want to spoil it for anybody. It's a short film. It doesn't take any time to watch, but I do recommend you be able to see it. But again, this is a woman who's dealing with trauma. She just had a miscarriage. She just lost her baby. The doctors weren't listening to her. Let's go into that just a little bit further. That's a horror in and of itself, but how do you feel about how they went in and basically told the story visually? Because truly, she's seeing things. She, is basically having all. And then, I was confused about this.
Mm-hmm.
Was she doing self-harm? Is that what you got of it?
I'm gonna pause right here and just say trigger warning for those of you watching who may have experienced any type of self-harm or any personal trauma or anything like that. Because when I watched it, I was like, whoa, this is a bit triggering because I didn't know what to expect. Because like you, I did not read the synopsis before. I just kind of watched it. So trigger warning there. But yeah, I felt like they were leaving that up to interpretation of like, okay, do you think she's self-harming or is she not? Because this, I don't want to give it away, but a scene where she's in the shower, is that what you're speaking about? And
yeah.
So
and then there's like the pool scene, which I thought was really well done, but at the same time I was like, is this self-harm? But then after the incidents, she was pretty much unscathed physically. So to me it was like an internal harming that was happening.
I think it was that, or I also saw it as if it was a self-harm that was happening, it's the way that people can mask. So you can go self-harm and then you can go put on your clothes and go on about your day, and the people in your life, the people around you don't even know that that's happening because you're able to mask it. And I think a lot of Black women, and that's a lot of Black women's stories, is that they have to put on this armor, this coat, this mask, and they may be going through complete hell, but people outwardly don't know it. So I think it was also some of that.
Yeah, I think I saw something where, and this is not direct quote, information could be wrong, but I think I saw something where it was like a podcast or something, and there was a group of women who were talking about giving birth. They all had recently, in a certain amount of time had babies, and apparently there's this thing, and I don't know the medical term for it, but there's this thing where there's like something that happens with the abdomen, and it doesn't go back into place, or I don't know, but there's basically a common occurrence that can be corrected. And the problem is, like, a lot of women, and these are all women, Black women having this conversation, don't even get that information. Like, no one's telling them, if this happens, this is what you need to do, or it just did not come up. And it's something that's totally treatable. That is wild to me. But I think Weathering did a good job of telling that story. The woman is sent home to recover, and she's not having a good time at it. And I think that, listen, it's a quick little trauma flick, but they do it in a very creative way. What's your take on it, and what would you rate this in terms of our good old rating system? I could go on. Let me just say this too.
Yes.
It was really well shot. Like, all the scenes looked amazing. Even the scenes that were meant to be scary and like pull you in, those really dark scenes, were really well done. So shout out to the crew.
I agree. I really liked how it was shot. I thought it was beautifully, like, visually appealing. I really liked that. So that kind of helped with the trauma piece of it. Like, it was like, okay, there's two sides of it, two ways to look at this. So I enjoyed it. I would say for me, I am going to give it a Queen Latifah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
And just a quick reminder to our watchers, viewers here, Queen Latifah is equivalent to a 4.
A 4. That's high. That's high.
I like,
Those are high marks.
High mark.
Why is that?
I think it was a good story, a great storyline. The plot is not something that we often hear about. Like, we hear about it in regular life, but we don't really see it a lot in like a cinematic format. I liked that it was 20 minutes. Like, I liked that it was short to the point. It was long enough for you to know, hey, this is what's happening, but it didn't kind of go on and on and on, because it could have gone in a lot of different directions. You even mentioned like kind of could have gone in a horror direction. It could have. So I liked how they kind of, nipped it in the bud after 20 minutes. It was like a little small bite. So I liked it. I thought it was a 4. I also really enjoyed the performances. You mentioned Alfre Woodard, who came in, delivered, got up out. She came in on her lunch break from doing something else, and she and she got missing, and we love to see it. So I appreciated that.
They paid Alfre in cash when she showed up.
Listen, she said, "Look, I need to pick up my delivery order, my takeout, give me cash." She
said, what? I got the lines. I got it.
I already got it. It's fine.
I'm gonna be right there with you. I'm also gonna give it a Queen Latifah.
Look at us agreeing.
Sure. The only reason I wouldn't give it a who is it? Angela, is because it does make you kind of want to see a bit more. Again, I'm fine with the short film aspect because there's, like I said, there's so much content out there that overdoes it.
Yeah.
I could have seen this even being, 10 more minutes longer just to really kind of fill it in and give us that. But the pacing of it was there. There was nothing about it that was like dragging or boring. So they could have missed the mark if they did make it 10 minutes longer. But I wanted to see a bit more. And I think that's just because I'm used to seeing stuff being longer. But overall, great performances, great story. Again, not a common story that we hear about. If it was a feature film, like an hour, 30 minutes kind of thing, I think they would have had to have chosen the genre. They would have been like, this is a horror film.
Yeah.
Or this is a trauma film. Or this, like, you know what I mean?
It almost could have gone like the Jordan Peele route. And I felt like that when I was watching it. I was like, is this going to be, because I didn't know how long it was. Again, I just hit play. And I was like, is this going to go like a Jordan Peele route? But I was glad that it didn't.
Yeah. It very much set itself in reality. The only thing that takes you on a journey is like the overall like storytelling. It doesn't really say, hey, here's a world where there's like these creatures that exist, or something like that. It don't take you out. It lets you know that it's reality. It's something that someone's going through, and they basically stem from that. Yeah. So for me, I'm also going to give it a Queen Latifah, and I want to see our leading lady in more stuff because she was great.
She was great. Really yeah. It was nice to see her. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So everybody, you know where you can find me. I'm TeaRon, at TeaRon World on Instagram, at TeaRon with 2 underscores on TikTok. That's pretty much all that matters. And then, of course, you can find us, Ubiquitous Blacks, all over social media. And if you want to make suggestions for other things that we want to review, you can email us at ubiquitousblacks@gmail.com. If you go on to your Google machine, okay, and you type in Ubiquitous Blacks, don't worry about the spelling. Don't worry if you get it wrong, because when you type it in, Google will say, or your search engine of choice, let me not say.
Bing.
It will say, did you mean, and then click that. Then you'll find us. It'll, that's how you'll do that. And if you are listening to this on a podcast platform, make sure you go ahead and hit 5-star review. Leave a review on the podcast. Again, 5 stars only. If you don't intend to leave 5 stars for the podcast, then you may as well close the app, the site, whatever you're on. Take that shit somewhere else. And Tiera, let them know where they can find you, because I'm done.
All right. Well, I am on Instagram. You can find me at It's Tiera Janee. It's ITSTIERA JANEE. Also, you can find me when you look up Ubiquitous Blacks. You can find me there. Again, if you guys have suggestions or things you want us to check out, please leave a comment, reach out via email, DM, whatever the case is. Also, if you have a password you want to share, please leave that as well. Or if you don't want everybody to see, you can DM to us directly. Yeah. We'll take it. It's all good. We're family.
Absolutely. And then let me say this too. Since we are talking about weather and it takes on a rather serious topic, if you feel comfortable enough and you're watching this on YouTube and you have a story that relates to this or you want to share, feel free to do so in the comments. It could help someone who is dealing with
any type of trauma, honestly.
Yeah. So you could be helping someone by sharing your story in the comments. And if you do, I appreciate it in advance. So thank you if you do that.
Thank you if you do that.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.